The video games that your children are playing may be bringing them into contact with predators and making them victims of something called sextortion. This is SkyWatch TV for Tuesday, May 17th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. Joining me in studio, special guest, the president and CEO of MillionKids.org, which refers to the number of children per year who are part of human trafficking. She's the director of development for Rafa House International and the outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, the author of the book, Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers, Opal Singleton. Opal, the idea that a video game, that an online video game would be an avenue into our homes for predators is startling. How does that work?
It's an interesting thing that is happening here because many people don't realize how much males are being violated. When we talk about human trafficking, usually we talk about girls. But I work in human trafficking out in Southern California. And what we're seeing is many, many cases of guys that get involved in sextortion. That word is sex and extortion, sextortion. It's basically blackmail by a photo. So let's talk about video games for a minute because it's a fascinating thing that's happening. First of all, let me explain to your audience how a video game really works as far as they may not realize it from a standpoint of grooming. In other words, most people think if you can take your child, for instance, to a movie, you might see a movie and it's violent and it's sexual, and it's happening to that character, and you take it and you take your child and you go home. Maybe you see that movie 2 or 3 times. But what happens in a video game is your child is living vicariously through an avatar. They're often in a world that is based on the occult, by the way. If you've not taken the time, look at World of Warcraft. That's all about the occult and sorcery. I'm always blown away by that, quite frankly, Derek. I mean, think about this. How many times in your life would you actually say, okay, child, go ahead and play in the world of occult and sorcery. Yeah. It's fine with me. Yeah. And yet, you know, because so much animation is taking place anymore, so much virtual reality, we don't think about it. So it's in a world of occult and sorcery, and then we add some animated pornography to it. And so already this kid is in there, their score's going up, they're in there and they're playing a game of sex and of violence, and then we open the door for total strangers that are talking to that child, and that child needs the approval of those strangers.
Now these are games that are connected through the internet so they can play with other players, the so-called, MMORPG,
yes,
massive online role-playing games.
Yeah. That's right. Games like Grand Theft Auto, Black Ops, World of Warcraft, all of those kinds of things. And that is important. In fact, let me make that very clear to your audience. I'm not against gaming. In fact, gaming will be used by all of our schools. You know, that's how kids learn. You'll see a 3-year-old walking around with a little screen and a game. Try to take that screen away from that kid. Good luck to you. You know, they're already addicted at 3. But where I go into a problem is, think about, we're giving our kids that are 10, 11, 12, 13, they're going through puberty. You know, their frontal lobe hasn't knitted together yet. They're not going to have good cognitive reasoning skills for another 3, 4, 5 years, depending if they're male or female. So it's kind of a fascinating thing that we put these kids in this world where they can talk to others and they need that approval. So let me tell you where this really goes wrong is that this is kind of based a little bit on child pornography because, quite frankly, child pornographers have developed these large-scale rings in what we call the dark web, down inside the internet in the areas. If you think of the internet as a bucket of water, that top 75% is kind of where we play with the search engines and like that. But that bottom dark web is where pornographers, cartels, money launderers, people like that play. Well, they get in on these rings and they share these photographs of our kids who are sending out naked photographs. Well, what has happened, and the reason we know about this is there's new technology called photo DNA. And so every email that you send out is scanned for the image of a naked child. When they see that, they send that back to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Since they've started doing that, NCMEC has reported that they've intercepted 158 million images of naked children. But here's what is important is 1/4 of those images, 35 million of those images are sent by our kids themselves. Our kids sending their naked selfie off to a friend. So how does this work for a guy? Well, let's suppose you have a 13-year-old kid, and he's playing, let's say, World of Warcraft, and he's in there and he's shooting it up, and he's having a great time, and you know his score is going up, and he's seeing a little sex and a little violence, and the team's going way to go, and all of a sudden this cute little girl joins the deal. She's about 12 or 13, maybe 14, and you're going, wow, my lucky day. A girl who plays World of Warcraft, and she thinks I'm hot. You know, I'm kind of a nerd. And so you get all excited. You can't wait to get home from school and play every day. You talk to her, she talks to you. You go back and forth. You're having a great time. Your score is going up, and everything's great. And one day she drops her naked photo on you. Whoa, what do you do with that? And you're going, I don't know what to do with this. And then she's going, I sent you mine. Give me yours. And you're like, no, I don't do that. Yeah, but I gave you mine. And pretty soon, one day, you just shoot yourself in all your wonderful glory, and you send it off to her. But it really turns out to be a him. It's a guy. It's a predator, an ugly predator usually, a guy who can't get anybody else, and now he's preying on kids. And he takes that photograph and he puts that out on a child pornography ring. I'm going to tell you, your son will change, because all of a sudden he's getting texts, he's getting emails. He's getting hundreds of men trying to contact him. They run his IP address, they know how to reach him, and they begin to blackmail him. This is sextortion. You know, hey, I think I know where you live. Hey, I want some money. You know, hey, I want to come over. I got some stuff I want to do to your body. You know, I'm going to send this off to the school. I'm going to show your parents. I'm going to put it on Facebook. You are ruined. And this child is trapped, and he's trapped in a damaged goods trap. This is why we wrote the book Seduced, is we want parents and grandparents to understand a video game is not a regular video game if it has a chat room. In fact, it is a grooming incubator where you have introduced your child, as exactly what you said, you have introduced your child to people that you would never allow in your living room.
The percentage of young men that are lured into this is startling. I presume this happens with young women as well. What should parents look for? Let's broaden this out. What kind of changes personality-wise should parents or grandparents look for that might help them identify this as a cause?
Shame changes a person's perception of
it
themselves.
does.
I often find it interesting that there seems to be like a distance about this far between sex and the soul. Out of all the bodily functions, it will change your perception of yourself. And that's true of our young people, because what a predator does is trap them. So all of a sudden, the common characteristics, now guys and girls will process shame differently. Guys will shut down. They'll just go deep, deep quiet. Now, I often think about the stories that you hear about the guys who were violated by the Catholic members of the Catholic Church. And what happened there is some of those guys couldn't talk for 20 years. They will go deep quiet, and they can't tell. Now, a girl will be a little bit different. They become very emotional because they're traumatized. They may start cutting, but usually everything starts blow up, a cry, you know, they won't talk.
Minor issues, things that normally wouldn't set them off.
Now, in a girl, mom and dad are saying, is this girl pregnant or is she on drugs? I mean, what's going on here? You know they need counseling, but you're not sure what's going on. They don't have the ability to tell you. They are trapped in that damaged goods box. Now, they may go to school, but not stay. They'll come back because they're like, somebody knows. Somebody's going to find out. Has that photo? Has somebody told somebody already? So they'll come back. You'll see they're not sleeping. And they'll begin to run away. In fact, there's something in the human trafficking business that is called the high-risk victims of trafficking model. It was developed out of Dallas, Texas, by the way, with a task force there. And they say that if a child runs away 3 times, they're probably in the life of prostitution, meaning they have been trapped into shame-based behavior, believing that they're just, you know, not redeemable. And if anybody knew what happened to them. And so that's what parents need to watch for. Now, while we're sharing this, let me share with you the antidote to that. Because when you see a child change like that, your first thing is to just look at them and go, what the heck are you thinking? You know?
Yeah.
But that just drives them further down. You see a child like that, stop and put your arm around them and say, you know, I don't know what's going on here. If you want to tell me, good. If not, I'm okay. But whatever it is, God is going to forgive you, and I am going to forgive you, and we are going to get through this together. You are not alone. And that's the most important thing that you can do with that child, is recognize that change in behavior, get them counseling, of course, and quickly, but stand beside them and let them know that you believe in them.
I heard a very wise evangelist once at a conference for men say that the family is the smallest battle formation in the spiritual war in which we're all deployed. And that's why the enemy spends so much time and effort trying to destroy it, because once we no longer have the support of our fellow soldiers, if we're broken apart, separated from our unit, we are easier to destroy. And it's clear that the enemy is using the most powerful instincts and urges built into our biology by God to accomplish those ends.
Isn't that's powerful what you just said. I have not heard that before, but in some of our other segments when we talk, we're going to talk about some of the other new technologies around. And it's almost like we're in a technological Armageddon that we're headed into without really being cognitive of what the world that we're living in, the impact that it has on the soul and the brain and our children's lives and future. And so that's a powerful statement.
And it's almost like we're going into battle armed with spears and slings against a team armed with the most high-tech weapons available to military. Well, Opal Singleton will be featured in a couple of very powerful episodes of SkyWatch TV during the month of June. Make sure you watch for that. Her website, millionkids.org, and the book is Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. This week on SkyWatch TV, we talk about the Vatican, the Islamic State, and the coming conflict between those two organizations. The forthcoming book from Tom Horn and Chris Putnam, best-selling authors. This is the follow-up to Petrus Romanus, Exo Vaticana, and On the Path of the Immortals, The Final Roman Emperor, The Islamic Antichrist, and The Vatican's Last Crusade. You can see SkyWatch TV 4 different locations tonight, tomorrow coast to coast on the Cornerstone Network, and this coming Saturday on the Victory Television Network and the Christian Television Network. Also available right now on demand, the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku. We are always open for your comments, questions, and suggestions on how we can make these programs more informative for you. Please send those to dgilbert@skywatchtv.com. And we thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV. Save nearly half off the cover price when you subscribe now to the brand new SkyWatch TV magazine. For a limited time from April 24th through June 24th, 60 days only, a 5-year subscription to SkyWatch TV magazine is just $99. That's more than $75 off the cover price, which is like getting 2 years for free. Exclusive content, articles on prophecy, discovery, and the supernatural from Tom Horn, Chris Putnam, Josh Peck, science updates from Sharon K. Gilbert, geopolitics from yours truly, and guest writers like Pulitzer Prize-nominated journalist Troy Anderson, renowned Bible scholar Dr. Michael Heiser, Pentagon advisor Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis, and more. But there is more. As an early subscriber, you'll be the first to get this new book from Defender Publishing. I predict what 12 global experts believe you'll see by 2025. This is a $20 value and includes best-selling authors like Joel Richardson, Mark Biltz, Carl Gallups, Tom Horn, Paul McGuire, and more. Find out what they think about the coming war between ISIS and the Vatican, the future of the Temple Mount and the Ark of the Covenant, a worldwide manifestation of angels, and the coming age of human hybrids. And we'll also add this DVD, The Best of SkyWatch TV 2015, a $25 value, including our most compelling interviews from last year, including Chuck Missler, Steve Quayle, the discussion of the Georgia Guidestones with Chris Pinto, and more. All of this together worth more than $200, yours now for just $99, but only through June 24th. Subscribe now, SkyWatch TV magazine. Just call the number on your screen or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.